additional lines just $30 each. Click, call, or visit a Spectrum store today.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Spectrum News Plus. Local stories, connecting communities. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
I'm Sharon Tazwell. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. Another rocky day on Wall Street Tuesday as the Trump administration pledges to move forward with massive tariffs on China. The president says he will impose at least a 104% tariff on Chinese imports after Beijing refused to stand down on retaliatory threats. The administration says it's time to use the U.S. economy to benefit Americans.
I can tell you the phones have been ringing off the hook, wanting to talk to this administration, this president, and his trade team to try to strike a deal.
The threat of severe storms across the South and Midwest is over, but the danger remains as flooding submerges cars, roads, and even homes. More than a foot of rain fell last week from Wednesday through Sunday across the Mid-South. Some regions recorded nearly an entire spring's worth of rain in a few days.
The water was up to my thigh, ice cold. And then as I stepped out, I almost fell because the water was dragging me.
National champion.
The national champion Florida Gators returned to Gainesville Tuesday, greeted by a welcome back rally with Florida students and fans. The men's basketball team defeated Houston in a defensive thriller Monday night, 65-63. It's their first title since 2007 and just the 3rd championship overall. And that is your Spectrum News in 90.
I'm meteorologist Brittany Hamilton. We're looking at the big picture. We actually have some freeze alerts overnight with very cold temperatures for parts of the Midwest as well as the South. A cold front has come through that's pushing in that cooler air, high pressure moving in the west. Now we will see a pretty quiet pattern over the next couple of days, but as we get into the end of the week, that's when we could see a better chance for some rain and storms.
U.S. stocks finished sharply lower Tuesday in yet another volatile session. Wall Street began the day higher, with traders citing an oversold market as reason for the bounce. But the market rally quickly evaporated after the White House confirmed a cumulative 104% tariff will be implemented on Chinese goods overnight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Tazwell. Tuesday marks the 4th session of violent market volatility since the rollout of Trump's tariffs. The Dow fell more than 300 points, bringing its 4-day loss to nearly 5,000 points. The S&P fell nearly 2% and was inches away from closing in a bear market. The Nasdaq fell more than 2% after rising as much as 4.5% earlier in the day. The White House remains optimistic the economy will rebound, and as Spectrum's Daniel Grimes reports, the White House says the president is getting calls from world leaders looking to negotiate.
The White House said Tuesday that President Donald Trump is moving forward with his controversial tariff plans, but that he's open to negotiate with countries that do not retaliate against the U.S. The administration said at least 70 countries have reached out to cut a deal.
These countries realize they've gotten filthy rich over the past few decades by imposing substantial tariffs on American-made products and ridiculous non-monetary barriers to block out American industry. The jig is up.
The administration's tough rhetoric towards China, though, showed no signs of easing, putting the two nations with the world's largest economies on a collision course. The president planned to impose a total tariff of 104% on imports from China starting Wednesday morning. It's the result of an extra 50% tariff threatened by the president on top of an initial 20% tariff and then a 34% reciprocal tariff after Beijing said it would respond with an additional 34% tax of its own. Chinese leaders called the escalation a mistake on top of a mistake and vowed to fight the tariff war, quote, to the end. On Capitol Hill Tuesday, Democrats blasted the administration's approach, telling the U.S. Trade Representative there is seemingly no off-ramp to this intensifying trade war with a powerful adversary.
I don't see any strategy at all.
I see a distinct difference between those countries who have come to us and they said, we understand your issues, we understand the deficit, we understand your desire for reciprocity, and we want to work with you on this. And the Chinese approach, which has been, we're going to retaliate.
The White House reiterating the goal is to lower trade barriers with both allies and adversaries, making U.S. products more competitive in the marketplace and bringing manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. The press secretary says it's already working.
The phones have been ringing off the hook.
Daniel Grimes joins us with more from Capitol Hill. Daniel, the U.S. stock market continues to feel the effects of the tariffs. All three major indexes once again ending in the red. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Sharon, the Dow dropped more than 300 points to end the day Tuesday after starting pretty strong and rebounding a little bit on this morning. Now, that was because there was news that some of these nations may be making a deal with the Trump administration, but by the day's end, the administration made it clear that while they are willing to make a deal, they have received about 70 calls from other nations. No deals have been made just yet, and that's why you're seeing the stock market in the day in a worse shape than it started, but we'll have to see how things shake out at the end of the week, Sharon.
Okay, Daniel Grimes in Washington, thank you. Developing this evening, the ACLU and Legal Aid Society have filed an emergency lawsuit in federal court Tuesday seeking to halt removals under the Alien Enemies Act for people who may be targeted for deportation in New York. The legal challenge follows a Supreme Court ruling Monday evening allowing the administration to use the old wartime law to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members. The White House was previously under fire for using the law to deport alleged gang members despite a federal judge halting flights. The judge has since canceled another hearing schedule over the issue after threatening to hold administration in contempt. And the president of El Salvador is expected to meet with Trump at the White House next Monday. The two leaders are expected to discuss the use of El Salvador's Supermax prison from gang members. After days of torrential rains that overfilled rivers to near record levels across the Mid-South, including Kentucky and Tennessee, people now wait for water levels to recede so they can go back to their homes. Chris Welch joins me now in the studio with more. Chris.
Yeah, Sharon, this massive storm system spawned not only rains, but tornadoes as well, killing at least 24 people. And now the residents who live near some of the very worst flooding are waiting for signs that the rivers have crested so they can begin that long and painful process of cleaning up.
That road is completely underwater.
From road closures across Arkansas to homes submerged up to their rooftops in Prospect, Kentucky, the deadly flooding continues following last week's severe storms. At least 24 people have died across 7 central and southern states, including 10 lives lost in Tennessee, where on Tuesday, more than 40 people were rescued near the town of Dyersburg.
We're starting to move teams, especially to the west. Even into next week, we're looking at some flooding and significant flooding.
Not welcome news for communities where rivers have reached major flood stage.
The water was up to my thigh, ice cold. And then as I stepped out, I almost fell because the water was dragging me.
James Cornish had to quickly evacuate his father from his flooded home.
At the time, you don't really think about the emotions. You're just in that mindset of we got to get this done, hurry up and get out of here, you know, and just the emotions hit the day after.
Floodwaters forced the closure of the historic Buffalo Trace Distillery close to the banks of the swollen Kentucky River. People in several counties across the Bluegrass State had to ration their water for several hours Monday after multiple water utility plants shut down their electrical equipment used to pump water from rivers.
You're used to seeing storms last a couple days if it's a bad storm, a day or two, but this was 6 straight days of heavy torrential downpour. And again, with already saturated ground, there's just nowhere for it to go. And so it's got to go up. And it did. And it did.
And further complicating those cleanup efforts, freezing temperatures threaten residents in many of these impacted areas Tuesday night. And in fact, local officials are warning residents that if they're trying to ride this out in a home that's been flooded, they say find somewhere else that's safe to go because the risk of hypothermia is very real. Sharon.
Economists warn new tariffs could raise the price of certain alcohols, including wine. We speak to winemakers in California with how their businesses are preparing. Just ahead.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Bring it to the party, bring it to the top, bring it to the party. Never gonna stop.
Enjoy, unwind, connect with Spectrum TV On Demand. From the latest hit movies you've been waiting to watch to your favorite comfort shows and more, all available instantly for you to stream. Create the all-around entertainment experience you've always wanted with Spectrum TV On Demand. Browse over 80,000 on-demand titles today.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Welcome back to your Weather on the Ones. I'm meteorologist Brittany Hamilton. As we look at satellite and radar, things are much quieter in terms of rainfall across areas that dealt with quite a bit of flooding. We are seeing some light rain showers and snow showers moving into parts of the Pacific Northwest, and also still dealing with some snow in New England as that system moves off to the north. But really, today and the next couple of days actually look on the drier side. Temperatures warmer than average for the western half of the country and the central plains. You can see spots like Denver, 26 degrees warmer than average by the time we get into Friday, about 15 degrees warmer in Albuquerque and Billings, 22 degrees warmer on Friday. Now, as we look at the eastern half of the U.S., temperatures actually running a little bit cooler, where we're seeing spots like Raleigh between 5 and 10 degrees cooler, and as well as New York, almost 15 degrees colder than we should be by the time we get into the end of the week. So looking at those temperatures, you can see as we get into Wednesday afternoon, 45 in Chicago with some rain. We will have some sunshine in New York with a high of 50, 62 in Raleigh, 76 in New Orleans, 72 in Denver, 97 in Phoenix. Pretty hot once again for parts of the Southwest, and 79 degrees in Los Angeles. And as we look at Thursday, we'll start to see some rain icons showing up here for Memphis, Chicago 46 with some cloud cover around, 69 degrees in Denver. And then as we get into Friday, this is where that warmth comes right back into play on the west. And we'll see some rain chances for New York as well as Raleigh as another system starts to move through. So we're going to be watching a low pressure that's going to move through parts of the Midwest and the Great Lakes region. And by the time we get into early Thursday morning, those showers will be moving moving through parts of the East Coast. Then we have another system that's coming in by the time we get into Thursday night and Friday that could bring some rain and maybe a few thunderstorms by the end of the week.
Here's what you need to know. President Trump says he'll impose at least a 104% tariff on Chinese imports after Beijing missed a deadline to stand down on a retaliatory threat. China refused, saying it will fight to the end of the trade war. And U.S. stocks still feeling the effects of tariffs. All three major indexes ended in the red. The Dow and Nasdaq dropped more than 300 points. And Texas reaches more than 500 measles cases amid an ongoing outbreak. Health officials say a daycare facility has multiple cases, including children too young to be vaccinated. And that is what you need to know. President Trump's newly announced tariffs are souring some in the wine industry. More than a third of the wine consumed in the U.S. is imported, mostly from Europe. Spectrum's Ariel Wessler takes a look at the potential impact to growers and sellers in California.
At Brentwood Fine Wines in Los Angeles, sommelier Ferdy Musarino stocks wines and spirits from all over the world. He says about 60% of his products are imports.
In Europe, most wines are named after the village where they're from.
These wines from France are currently among his best sellers. Not surprising, since Italian and French wines are the most popular in the U.S. But all foreign wines now have minimum tariffs of 10%, part of President Trump's plan to rebalance global trade.
What he's trying to do, in my opinion, is equal that playing field by really charging the same tariffs that we're charged when our wine goes into those other countries.
While winemakers and sellers are grateful it wasn't the 200% tariff the president had previously threatened, that's not off the table just yet, especially if Europe retaliates with its own tariffs.
A 200% tariff would essentially triple the cost of European wines here in the U.S., and that has some local wine shops concerned not only about their reputation, but how it would affect their customers.
Musarino worries the industry could see a repeat of what happened during Trump's first term.
Prices are going to go high. Then once the tariffs are lifted or changed, prices are going to stay pretty much the same. So it's a lose-lose for the consumer.
People are already drinking less, and so I think it's just going to make people probably drink even less, maybe go out less.
Laura Gabriel is a small winemaker based in Sonoma, California. She started the company Paper Planes with her husband about 10 years ago. She says even though the tariffs are designed to encourage people to buy American, there isn't always a suitable substitute.
You can't make champagne in the United States. You can't make Burgundy or Bordeaux in the United States.
Many wine distributors depend on imported wines, and if they have to pay more, she says they might buy less or raise prices on American wines to make up for lost profits.
It's going to affect wine shops, it's going to affect distributors, it's going to affect a lot of small businesses, but I just don't think that they can take it financially right now.
A complex puzzle, leaving the minds of many in the wine industry swirling.
And Ariel joins me now. Ariel, that 10% tariff you mentioned is the baseline, but some European countries could see higher prices. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Sharon, we've seen all these reports of Americans stocking up on wines and other alcohol to try to get ahead of potentially higher prices. But again, keep in mind, this is on all imported alcohol, not just wine. And starting Wednesday, several countries are set to be hit with even higher tariffs. Wines and other alcohol from France, Italy, Germany, and Spain face tariffs of 20%. Wines from South Africa will be tariffed at 30%, and wines from Israel at 17%. And again, this isn't cut and dry, as you saw, even among California winemakers. There are those who feel this will level the playing field globally, and then others who are worried about higher costs kind of trickling down. Either way, with so much still in flux, Sharon, it is tough to know exactly how long these tariffs will be in effect. The White House saying it will talk to any country, though, that wants to negotiate.
Okay, Ariel Wessler in Southern California. Thanks.
Thank you.
Crews in the Dominican Republic are searching for possible survivors after a roof collapsed at a popular nightclub in Santo Domingo early Tuesday. Authorities say the collapse killed at least 58 people and injured at least 160 others. Officials say rescue crews were still pulling out survivors 12 hours after the collapse. Among the dead is Nelsie Cruz, the governor of the northwestern province of Monte Cristi and sister of former baseball star Nelson Cruz. Former MLB pitcher Octavio Dotel was also among those killed. Dotel won a World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals in 2011. Authorities say it's not clear what caused the roof to collapse. March Madness is over and champions have been crowned. We're recapping both the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournaments just ahead.
For the millions of school-age children across the country, the state of their schools can have a lasting impact on their health and well-being.
The majority of school districts aren't doing comprehensive regular water quality testing.
As CO2 levels rise in a space, cognitive function takes a direct decline.
We visit 2 school districts working to create safe and healthy environments for their students.
Watch Exploring Your Health, Curing Our Classrooms, available on the Spectrum News app.
Look at this.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together.
Oh, that was funny.
It's all about connecting with seamless connectivity. And internet customers get one mobile line included for 1 year with Spectrum.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Brittany Hamilton, and we've seen a few snow showers across parts of New England as that low pressure continues to pull off to the north. And we're still seeing some rain and snow moving into Washington as well as Oregon, some cloud cover for other spots in some of the higher elevations dealing with some snow. But that low pressure that we're seeing moving through parts of New England, it has a cold front attached to it. And that's why really the eastern half of the U.S. feeling much colder since that front has moved through. We still have a little bit of lingering moisture moving through Florida on the tail end of that same front. So as we look at our futurecast going into Wednesday and Thursday, we have this low pressure that will start to form. You have a wintry side to this, so there could be some spots north of Chicago and other parts of Michigan as well as Wisconsin that end up with some snow. On the southern side of this, some rain that's going to develop, and then we see that moisture moving through areas like Kentucky once again, so areas that did pick up a lot of rain and has had a lot of flooding over the past few days. We're likely to add some rain to this, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a rain that sticks around for multiple days, which is some good news. But there is another system that moves through parts of the Mid-South by the time we get into Thursday night. That could bring some rain chances by the time we get into the weekend. So taking a look at the end of the week, you see those warm temperatures across the west, 102 for the high in Phoenix, 68 in Memphis, 68 in Atlanta, as well as in Raleigh, a little cooler on the East Coast, and for parts of the South, 47 degrees in New York with some rain showers around. So that rain ending our weekend. Even on Saturday, still likely raining across parts of the East Coast. Atlanta drying out with temperatures around 64, 86 in Denver, and still very hot for much of Texas, the Panhandle, as well as the Plains. And getting into Sunday, looking at a 90-degree day in Dallas, and we'll see temperatures cooling down some across parts of the interior west and the Pacific Northwest. And as we look at our temperature outlook as we go from April 13th through April 17th, much of the western half of the U.S. as well as the Central Plains and parts of the South likely to see temperatures that are above average for this time of the year. And I would say most of the East Coast as well as parts of the Midwest likely to see temperatures near average or maybe slightly below average during the same time.
And then there was one. After a field of 68, the Florida Gators are on top of the men's college basketball world after winning the national championship Monday night. The Gators arrived back in Gainesville to cheers Tuesday afternoon. And here to weigh in is Spectrum News anchor Marilee Melendez. Marilee, what do you think?
Sharon, I really thought it was a great championship. Great to see them celebrating there. It just came down to the wire, and the Gators came back from a 12-point second-half deficit to win their third national title. You know, I wasn't sure if this game would match what we saw in the Final Four between Houston and Duke, but it did not disappoint, unless you're a Houston fan. It would have been the Cougars' first national championship and the 800th career win for head coach Kelvin Sampson. Sampson calling the loss incomprehensible. Now for the Gators, their head coach made history. At 39 years old, Todd Golden is the youngest head coach to win a national championship since Jim Valvano did it at 37 with NC State back in 1983. Golden also did it in just 3 seasons at the helm of the Gators program, but he's not taking all the credit.
I'm just a piece of this puzzle, you know. I've been able to put together an incredible staff and recruit great student athletes over these last 3 years, and you know, we've stayed the course all year and worked really hard. And you know, my best answer is I'm just really proud. You know, I'm proud to be the head coach of Florida. I'm proud of the way our players performed, and I'm proud of the way our staff prepared our guys to become national champions.
I love that he's just wearing the net over his neck. And Sharon, not to toot my own horn, but I did win my family pool, picking Florida to win, despite everyone in my family being big Florida State Seminole fans.
Look at you, all right. All right, so how about the women's championship?
Well, UConn bested the reigning champ South Carolina 82-59 Sunday. It was really never close, but still an amazing story to see Paige Bueckers and the Huskies win it all. Now, Bueckers spent 5 years in Connecticut and went to 4 Final Fours, but had 3 years of heartbreak after experiencing major season-ending knee injuries. She's really the comeback story of the tournament, taking home the title in her last year and spreading a message many can relate to or cheer on, calling her story one of, quote, resilience, of gratitude, of adversity, of overcoming adversity, and responding to life's challenges. Sharon?
Wonderful. Fun all around. Marilee Melendez, thanks so much. Disney's Animal Kingdom welcomes a new baby giraffe into the world. Tucker is a Maasai giraffe and stands 6 feet tall. He is the 3rd calf of a giraffe named Mara, who has been at the park since 2015. Well, Maasai giraffes are one of 4 different species of giraffes, and they are all considered vulnerable. I'm Sharon Tazwell. Thanks for watching. Your Spectrum News in 90 is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
Friday nights, The Big Deal with Errol Lewis, where Spectrum News' local political journalists break down the most important issues shaping our nation.
Our journey towards improving mental health doesn't always present a clear path. Every Thursday on Your Mental Health, we listen to voices across our communities, discussing the challenges of everyday life and presenting accessible resources to guide us along the path to our well-being, providing hope and empowering choices that light the way to a healthier you.
Your Mental Health with Dr. Nicole Clark, Thursdays on Spectrum News Plus, available on all your favorite devices.
It's game time at the arena, and 20,000 fans are looking for a win. With an ultra-high-speed network and seamless Wi-Fi, fans can get in the door fast and share the game's best moments in real time. And with Spectrum Business committed to keeping them connected 100% of the time, they won't miss a second of the action. A secure, reliable connection from Spectrum Business means the fan experience is a guaranteed win.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Weather can be beautiful, inconvenient, and at times powerful. And it affects everything we do. At Spectrum News Plus, our weather experts update you with the information and the context you need so you can better plan your day. And we do it every 10 minutes. We're the calm in the storm. Weather on the Ones on Spectrum News Plus, exclusively on Spectrum. And get your weather anytime on the Spectrum News app. Spectrum News Plus. Local stories, connecting communities. Streaming now on the Spectrum.